Hi, welcome back to English 111 Online. This week we're going to continue working on our core project 4, our research paper, our problem solution essay, and this week we'll be looking at what you need to do as far as citing what the other side says for your solutions, and we'll be looking at how to refute what the other side says. So you want to view the video lecture this week, which you're doing. View the website page on refutation. There's a website that has really good information on introductions, refutation paragraphs, and conclusion paragraphs. And of course, you should have already done your introduction by now with your thesis, and you've gotten your background paragraph done. And now you're at the point this past week where you looked up your solutions to the problem. And we're going to have one body paragraph for each of those solutions, bringing in evidence to back up why it's a good solution, why it's a viable solution that will work, why it's a sustainable solution, where it's already being used, and what the results of this solution being implemented are. So you're going to put all those in your body paragraphs. And then you're going to do, the next paragraph is going to be looking at what people say about your solutions or your problem in general, that it won't work, it's going to cost too much, for some reason it's just not doable, it's not workable. So you're going to find in your research what to do, or what people who say it won't work are saying, and then you're going to refute them or talk back to them. Just like in a court case, when the defense attorney gets up and says something about why his client is innocent, the prosecuting attorney is not just going to let that sit with the jury. The prosecution is going to say, well, some of that may be true, but, and they're going to talk back to them. They're going to have a refutation. And so that's what we're basically working on this week. So you want to view the logical fallacies PowerPoint, because sometimes why the person is wrong is because they have made a statement that seems logical on the surface, but it's really not logical, and we call those logical fallacies. And if that is what is wrong, then you can state that in your refutation. This logical fallacies PowerPoint also helps you with things that that might be, you're doing the same thing. You're making something that sounds logical on the surface, but it really isn't. So it can help you refute the other side if they're doing these logical fallacies, and it can help you prevent you from doing that. Then you're going to view this web site page about concluding a persuasive essay, as well as this answering the opposition. They're both the same website, so you can actually click from one to the other in the on the website itself. View the document for the outline and complete your outline, and that's the thing that is due this week, is your outline. You're going to have a complete introduction paragraph in your outline, and the rest of it can be bulleted points, sentences, phrases, whatever. And also that outline document tells you what needs to go in your essay, the complete feedback or instructions for what to put in each paragraph of your essay. So after you've completed it, then go back and review it and start working on your rough draft. You'll want to flesh out that rough draft or flesh out that outline into a rough draft, and you can submit your rough draft to Smart Thinking. I'm not requiring it this time, so you won't get a grade for doing that, but it will be highly advantageous for you if you do that. And then make sure when you're doing your rough draft that you make your MLA citations in text match what you have on your works cited page. There's a document that you can review on that. You did it in your rhetorical analysis, you did it in your data analysis, but so you just do it the same way, and I put the document on there again so that you can look at that. And make sure that your in-text actually matches, they match the hanging out part on your hanging indent on your works cited page. So that's important. So don't put the website in parentheses in your text, and then I look for it on your works cited, and you didn't start your entry with the website, you started it with the title. So you've got to make those match. What you put in parentheses has to match what is on the hanging out part of your hanging indent. Make sure you've eliminated anything that's not allowed for this essay, and I'll go over that with you before. I talked about it before, but no first person, no second person, all written in third person, no references to your assignment in this essay, I will do so and so, none of that stuff. And so submit your rough draft to Smart Thinking, not required but highly recommended. Save all of your works cited information so that you will be taking that same works cited page from this assignment, and you'll be annotating it for the annotated bibliography assignment, which is due before midnight on May the 5th. And then your final revised version of this, including Smart Thinking feedback or getting a friend to look over it with you or you reviewing it several times yourself, that final essay is due before midnight on May the 5th. So it looks like a whole lot to do this week, but a lot of it is going to extend into next week, which is spring break, by the way. And there are no assignments due next week, but there's important information on that tab, and we'll look at that in just a minute too. All right. So first of all, these are things that are not allowed in the essay. You want to avoid I, me, my, mine, myself, we, us, our, ours, ourselves. Any of that first person pronoun stuff, you want to leave that out. This should be written in academic tone, and academic tone is for you to have third person is what it's written in. And so down here too, you, your, yours, yourself, you don't want to put any of those words in there because it's not second person either, it's third person. Also leave out things like this: I plan to discuss, I will talk about, in this paper will, this essay is about, or anything like that. Anything that references the essay itself. No, in doing my research I found, no, leave all of that stuff out. That's first person, so you want to leave that out. And anything that says I feel, I believe, or in my opinion, or I think, that weakens persuasive writing, and you want to just outright state it, and don't limit it in any way by saying it's just what you think. Okay, so you can go back and review that. Oops, lost my little bar over here. There we go. Okay, so leave all those things out. And of course, don't worry about those until you've actually written your rough draft, but that's something to avoid when you're writing your rough draft. And so this week, refutation, talking back to the other side. There's a PowerPoint here that you can go to. Where did it open? Down here at the bottom of my screen. Let's see if I can open that up to show you. It's not important that we look at it together because I don't want to take the time to look at it when you can look at it. Logical fallacies are things that on the surface seem logical, but in reality they are not, because there are certain things like, here it is, it's slow opening up, but it's opening up. They have things like everybody's doing it, so it must be the right thing to do, and that's not a truth. That's one of those logical fallacies. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing to do. And there are other ones also, if it ever will open. There we go. They're logical fallacies or flawed arguments. So you can just click through and look at this. And the reason that I'm even bringing this up is that it can help you critique the others' arguments. And it can strengthen your own arguments by helping you to avoid doing these, committing these logical fallacies in your reasoning. So go through those, and then when you look at what your opposite side is saying, go back and find out if what's wrong with it. It's just not right. It doesn't sound right. You've got conflicting evidence to disprove what they've said. Or maybe part of it is true that they've said, but they don't have all the information that you have. And so when you write your refutation paragraph, logical fallacies could be something that you use to refute the other side. All right, let's look at this, writing a refutation paragraph. This is going to take you to a web page. And this web page actually has, you can go to the refutation paragraph here and to conclusion from this same website by clicking up there. But a refutation paragraph is only found in a persuasive essay, and it's where you talk back to the other side. Sometimes it'll be known as a concession paragraph, because you're going to not find everything that the other side says as being wrong. You might find some things that are good and that are true in what the other side says, and but you're going to say what is wrong with them. This may be true, however, this is where the reasoning is not correct, or whether the evidence that is not complete, or whatever it is you're going to say back to them. This helps establish ethos in your paper. It shows that you are well read on this subject, that you know not only what you're proposing, but you know what the other people who are against this are saying. And so that helps build your ethos in the paper. All right, and so then after you introduce your refutation, or what the other side is saying, then you have to know how to refute it. So refutation paragraphs typically have these things. You introduce the opposing argument, you explain it fully. This is what the other side says, and this is why they say it, and this is their thinking on this. And then acknowledge any part of the opposition that is valid. Sometimes things are valid, sometimes things are true, but you're going to have to find the part that is not true, or you have evidence to contradict it, or something like that. That's where you're going to counter the argument. And then after you do that, you'll be ready for your conclusion paragraph. This is very detailed. They even give you information about how some phrases that you can use to introduce what the other side is saying, opposing views, claim, and then you state what the other side says. And then you'll have to, if there are parts that are valid, and that's always concession. Sometimes conceding a point that is true is sometimes the best part of getting people to hear what what you're saying about why they're wrong, if you acknowledge what they're right about. And then when you counter the argument, you refute the opposition's claims. It's sometimes called the rebuttal, especially if you think about the TV court shows and stuff. But you can do that and start with something, a transition word that indicates that here is why they're wrong. Nevertheless, however, on the other hand, but, those are good ways to start your rebuttal. And then they even have a sample of what a refutation paragraph looks like, where you introduce what the opposing side says, acknowledging what is true about that or what is valid about that, and then countering with your rebuttal to them, saying why they're wrong, what it is that is wrong. And you'll need to bring in evidence for this, just as you bring in evidence for everything else that you're writing. So the next paragraph after your body paragraphs, and each of those body paragraphs will be one of your solutions, 3 solutions, and then your refutation paragraph. And this is all the information that needs to go in that refutation paragraph. Then you're ready for your conclusion. So let's go ahead and click on conclusions while we're here at the web page. And all right, so the conclusion paragraph for a persuasive essay is very important. You want to wrap it all up. It's kind of like the closing argument in that court case, that imaginary hypothetical court case we're talking about. You want to wrap up the information and remind them of what the point is you're trying to make. Remind them of your thesis statement, why this is a significant problem, your main points, your solutions that you're offering and why they work. And so here is the main points here. Revisit the value of this problem and finding and being able to meet the goal that the United Nations has set forth. Restate your thesis, not word for word, but definitely reminding your reader what your thesis was, and then reviewing the main points, because after they've read through all this, they may need that little reminder. So under revisiting the value, remind the reader of the magnitude and timeliness of the issue. Restate your thesis. Not identical twins, as it says, but key similarities. They look and sound like separate individuals, but they make the same point. They call them cousins, the thesis statement and the concluding statement, the opening of your conclusion paragraph. Make sure that it flows and smoothly fits whatever you put for your main points that you want to remind your reader of. I'm going to say don't worry about this part, considering unexplored ideas, and leave the reader thinking. Skip over that part and just go to the end of your conclusion by giving your reader something practical that they can do. And you can do that from the Global Goals website. They have a place on the website where you can look at actions that you can take, things that you can do from your recliner, I think, or from your couch, things that you can do in your home, things that you can do outside of your home, things that you can do at work. And so give them some actual suggestions that they can do, but do not use you in it. Do not use second person. You might end it by saying people may not see what they can do for this tremendous problem and how they could help with the solution, but there are things everyone can do at home, and then you can list a few of those things. And so I would suggest that's how you end your conclusion, giving them some hope that, yes, there are things that I can do here, even though I can't solve this, by myself. All right, in the conclusion paragraph, never, ever, ever do oversimplify your message. When we get to the conclusion, sometimes we're tired of writing, and we just want to sum it up in 2 sentences, but that's not the kind of conclusion you need for this type of essay. Persuasive essays need a good, strong conclusion. Don't use cliches which sound good but mean nothing, like no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. That doesn't really mean anything. Give them specific things that they can do. Don't ever apologize for material that you're writing. Don't blatantly refer to the actual essay. This essay shows you. Those things that I just talked about a minute ago. Don't introduce any new arguments or evidence. Like, don't branch off into a different problem in your essay. Don't do anything that softens your argument, and things that soften your argument are things like, in my opinion, that sort of thing. Blatant repetition of the thesis. In other words, they're not brothers, they're not sisters, they're not twins, they're cousins, as the document says. Don't sound repetitive or list-like, and don't leave your readers frustrated after reading an otherwise wonderful paper. Make your conclusion wonderful also. And here is another sample that they've given you from a conclusion paragraph. So that's a good website. I like it. I think it's helpful to you, and I would definitely use ideas from that website. Okay, so we've been through that, writing the refutation paragraph, writing the conclusion paragraph. Here is what you have to do for a graded assignment for this week, and this is the problem solution research essay outline. And when it comes up, here we go. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your introduction paragraph in full. So you're going to write a full introduction ending with your thesis statement. And then the rest of it can be in phrases or complete sentences. You can bullet items. You can do whatever. Thing is not highlighting. There it goes. So you can do, you don't have to have complete sentences for anything, but you need your complete introduction paragraph. I don't know why my thing's messing up. Okay, complete introduction paragraph. So you can write on this document. Well, you can't write on this document, but you can write on your, you can make a copy, and then you can fix this any way you want to. But under introduction, you're going to have your complete paragraph, and the complete paragraph will just go under here. You don't need to write all this stuff out. This is an instructional outline, and you can create a totally new document and put them side by side. And you're going to put introduction, and you're going to put that paragraph. Your background paragraph, you're going to put some details about what you have put in your background paragraph. Evidence is required in your essay, but you do not have to bring in the evidence here in the outline. You just need to put what you're going to explain in your background paragraph there without the evidence being brought into it. Your body paragraphs, you're going to have a separate body paragraph, so you would want to do your outline body paragraph 1 and your topic sentence, which would be the solution, the first solution that you're going to talk about. And you do 3, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3 with the same thing. These are solutions to the problems. This is what you did in your journal for last week. And the instructions for the rough draft are you're going to bring in evidence that supports using that solution to meet the global goal, and try to, you don't have to do this for every body paragraph, but try to, over the 3 body paragraphs, bring in some logical arguments that facts, statistics, expert opinions, authorities, laws, etc. Bring in some ethos. We've already said writing that well-written refutation paragraph will give you some ethos, but also that it appeals to your sense of right and wrong, morality, expert authority. It gives you expert authority to talk about the subject, the right and wrong of it, and that you are an ethical person yourself because you've written it well, you've explained it well, you've offered good evidence. And then pathos, emotional. Try to find one of those stories that, like the little boy, when we watched the video on argument and with John Green, and he talked about the little boy, 3-year-old boy, washing up on the shores, trying to make it, and as a I can't think of the word now. Anyway, try to making it to safety, to have a chance at life, and he's dead, washed up on the shores. So something that tugs at your heart as well. And like I said, you don't have to do it for every problem that you talk about or every solution that you talk about. You can do it just so that you have some of it in your essay overall. Again, you do not have to bring in your evidence for this outline. You just put your topic sentences in. Then your opposing side, what the other side says, and how you're going to refute it. You do not have to bring in evidence for this. Save that for your rough draft. And then your conclusion. And all of this tells you exactly what you need to do. So this is an instructional outline. And your outline, you can make a copy of this and work on this, or you can make just follow this pattern with your introduction, background, 3 body paragraphs, refutation, and conclusion on another document if you want to. So there's that. And then I have put another document here for basic MLA format. When you write your rough draft, you don't have to worry about this for the document itself, but when you write your rough draft, scroll down here. Anyway, when you write your rough draft, you'll need that basic MLA format, talking about matching it, your in-text citations that are matched to that. Now, if I can pull this down, I'm telling you, sometimes my computer just drives me crazy. So anyway, now I'm getting down there good. And then once you finish your rough draft, you can submit it here on the Smart Thinking link. You do not have to do this. I'm not going to give you a grade for this time. I'm just going to ask that you do it. I highly recommend that you do it because you know in the past you've gotten good feedback from Smart Thinking, and that is helpful to you. So, so do try to get your turned into Smart Thinking and give it time. Sometimes they can get your information back to you within 24 hours, but sometimes it'll take like 48 hours. So give them enough time because the final draft is due by May 5th. So the only thing that is due this week is your outline, not your rough draft, just your outline. You're going to submit it on this Turnitin link. It's due before midnight on April 24th. And then, scoot this down so I can find my bar again. Just scroll forward. Okay, so there's information that is available to you. The final exam there's not information there yet, but there will be. I will put those readings for your final exam on there when I get a chance to do that. But by May the 6th, and probably before May the 6th, I'll have your information so that you can read ahead if you have time. In fact, next week is spring break, and we don't have an assignment due next week, but I put some information, important information, on this on the tab for that week. So there's nothing due this, but information. Submit your rough draft to Smart Thinking for feedback. No grade, not required, but highly recommended. You have until May 5th before midnight to submit your final essay for this, what we're working on right now, what you're completing your outline for this week. I also have opened up next week for you so that you can work ahead on Core Project 5 assignments, the annotated works cited and the infographic. They are both also due on May 5th. They are related to what we're doing now, so you can actually be working on these as we go. So if you or just want to break from typing something and want to work on the infographic, you can look ahead to next week and see the instructions for that. I misspelled information here. And I will put those readings. Boy, I made a lot of mistakes in that. I better go back and fix that. But I'll give you the readings that you'll do, and that will be due for that. And we will take the actual final exam the week of the 6th through the 12th. You just have to have that done before midnight. But if you want to work ahead, you can do that. And here on the next week's tab after spring break, there is the information for the annotated bibliography and the infographic, both of them parts of Assignment 5, Core Project 5. And I have 2 videos on there, one related to the annotated bibliography and one related to the infographic, just because I just thought it would be easier on 2 videos instead of 1. And then the documents there so that you can understand what those assignments require. And I will, that week, we will, that is the assignment for that. So I just made it seems like a lot to do. All you need to do for this week is the outline, and then, which is right here, the link for that. And then I made the rest of it available to you so that you can go in there and work ahead if you want to. Some people might want to take off the week and not do anything, so then work really hard this week, getting ahead as far as you can. And if you don't want to do it, if you want to have next week free so you don't have anything to do, then you'll still have the week after, one more week before everything is due. So I know some people like to work ahead. That's why I decided to put it all up there for you. So that's this week, and I will talk to you not next week because I will be on a cruise to the Bahamas, and I hope you have a great spring break, and I will be back in touch with you the following week. But all the information is available for you except for the final exam itself, and you can work on it at your own pace. Just don't forget that all this stuff is due by May 5th, and then the final exam will be the following week. All right. Well, I hope you have a great spring break, and I will talk to you week after next.